Funky Divas. That's what really took us to the next level. After the success of the Funky Divas CD, the dynamics of the group started changing.
Whenever you go platinum, the first contract you did goes out the window.
In Vogue redefined girl groups in the 80s and 90s with their killer harmonies, sleek style, and mix of R&B, pop, and soul. Hits like Hold On and Free Your Mind made them icons. But behind the success, drama tested their bond. Here's how the girls built their legacy and kept us hooked.
Gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Back in the late 80s, producers Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy had a bold idea. Create a girl group that mixed the soul and style of iconic 60s and 70s acts with a fresh, modern edge. They weren't just looking for killer vocals. They wanted stars who could light up a room and keep everyone hooked.
Our producers were looking to put together a female group. At first they wanted only 3 members, and they held auditions in Richmond, California, and we all ended up at the audition on the same day.
The duo set out to find the ultimate dream team and nailed it after a tough search. They handpicked 4 special women: Cindy Herron, Maxine Jones, Dawn Robinson, and Terry Ellis, each bringing their own special spark to the mix. Cindy Herron, a former Miss California, had killer vocals and major stage presence. With her pageant background, she brought a blend of grace and confidence that instantly leveled up the group's game. Maxine Jones brought a deep, soulful sound that gave their harmonies extra punch. Her vocals and bold personality made her a key player in the group. Dawn Robinson's standout voice was packed with power and emotion. She brought a raw energy to her performances that gave the group a sharp, unforgettable edge. Terry Ellis had a silky, melodic voice that tied everything together. Her control and versatility were the secret sauce behind En Vogue's flawless harmonies. Once the squad was set, Foster and McElroy got to work shaping their sound and look. They landed on the name En Vogue to match the sleek, fashion-forward energy they were aiming for. The producers pulled out all the stops, perfecting their vocals and stage presence to make sure the group was ready to shake up the music world. En Vogue burst onto the scene with their debut single, Hold On, and it was an instant smash. The track showed off their fancy harmonies and fresh R&B style, giving everyone a taste of what they could do. En Vogue shot to fame fast, and they earned every bit of it. Mixing R&B, pop, and soul with killer harmonies and a glam look, they stood out from the crowd. Their polished style and polished vocals had fans and critics hooked from the jump. They dropped their debut album, Born to Sing, and it was an instant hit. Leading the charge was Hold On. The song shot up the charts, hitting number 2 on Billboard Hot 100, proving these ladies had the talent and star power to back up their polished sound. Born to Sing was packed with bangers like Lies, You Don't Have to Worry, and Don't Go. Showing off En Vogue's ability to switch up their sound while still owning every track. With hits that hit all the right notes, the album cemented their spot as one of the top female vocal groups of the time. Their mix of class and smooth vocals made them stand out and set the bar in the music world. Their live shows, iconic. Fashion, always on point. Talent, next level. It didn't take long for them to build a loyal fan base and rack up awards. And that's just the start. Born to Sing was only the beginning. They kept dropping hits, leveling up with every album, and proving they were here to stay. Their blend of styles and flawless sound made sure they'd remain a major influence in music for years to come. Even though En Vogue was blowing up, it wasn't all smooth sailing. The pressure to keep up with their crazy schedules, non-stop tours, studio time, and promo, was seriously taking a toll. All that hustle made it tough to stay healthy and keep their personal lives in check. They were living the dream, but that dream came with a heavy price. As one of the top R&B groups of the 90s, their lives were packed with non-stop shows, TV spots, interviews, and studio time. While it kept them on top, the crazy schedule was definitely wearing them out. Touring was a double-edged sword for En Vogue. Sure, it was awesome for connecting with fans and showing off their skills on stage, but the grind was intense. They barely had time to breathe between shows, and the constant travel left them drained. With the pressure to always bring their A-game, it was no surprise they started feeling the burn. Between all the TV appearances and promo events, their schedule was nonstop. They were always in the spotlight, talk shows, music programs, award shows, looking perfect and putting on a show for the cameras. The pressure to keep up this polished image 24/7 left them with little time to just relax or take care of themselves. It was all work, no chill. The pressure to stay on top was real. Fans, the industry, and even the group themselves expected nothing less than perfection. It was a lot to carry, and it took a toll. Stress and anxiety became regulars in their lives as they hustled to meet those crazy high expectations. On top of that, their personal lives were taking a hit. With barely any time for family or friends, finding a balance between their career and personal time was tough. The constant grind led to tension, making things harder within the group. So the En Vogue ladies, Cindy, Maxine, Dawn, and Terry, weren't shy about their opinions on their music. They were ready to take more control over their sound, lyrics, and creative direction. But their producers, Denzel and Thomas, had a whole other vision for the group. They were all about keeping the polished R&B/pop sound that had made them a sensation. Naturally, this caused some drama. The producers wanted to stick to what worked, while the ladies were itching to experiment and show more of their individual styles. The struggle between sticking with what was winning and pushing for artistic growth started creating some serious tension in the group.
Funky Divas. That's what really took us to the next level. After the success of the Funky Divas CD, the dynamics of the group started changing.
Whenever you go platinum, the first contract you did goes out the window.
The money situation was a huge issue. The girls were feeling like they weren't getting their fair share of the cash, even though they were the ones out there busting it on stage and in the studio. While album sales, tours, and merch were raking in the dough, they felt like their managers and producers were taking way more than their fair cut. It didn't sit right with them, especially when they knew how much they were putting into the whole thing. The contracts, total nightmare. The ladies were looking for more control and better deals that actually reflected how much they were killing it. They wanted clearer finances and a fairer cut of the profits. But their contracts were a mess, way too complicated and heavily tilted in favor of the management and producers. Naturally, that led to a lot of frustration and, honestly, some major bad blood.
We began renegotiating our production deal with Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy. Our manager and all the group members felt like, it'll be better if you're signed directly to the label.
The whole money situation was a mess. The girls had no clue where their cash was really going. They wanted full transparency. Like, how were the profits being split and who was managing all their earnings? The lack of clarity just built up major trust issues and made things super tense with the people running the show.
Once Tommy and Denny were out of the picture and the record company was in control,
that's when things started fracturing.
The drama started causing major tension, both within the group and with their management. The girls were clashing with the very people who were supposed to be helping them level up. That trust was broken, and it made everything. Working together, staying focused, just vibing, way harder. By '97, things got so tense that Dawn Robinson decided she was done and left to go solo. Her exit hit En Vogue hard. She was one of their standout voices and a huge part of what made them a success. Dawn's move didn't just shake the group, it showed how deep the cracks really were and how tough it was for them to balance their creative and professional drama. En Vogue's behind-the-scenes drama is a reminder of how messy success in the music world can get. Trying to juggle creativity, money, and mental health? Yeah, not exactly a walk in the park. But even with all the chaos, they've managed to stick around and keep their spot as one of the most iconic R&B girl groups ever. That's dedication for you. Let's talk about the wonderful career they had. En Vogue might have hit some bumps in the road, but their career had plenty of moments that prove why they're R&B legends. Take 1997, for example. Dawn Robinson had just left the group, but they still came through strong with their third album, EV3. That record gave us Don't Let Go, Love, one of their biggest hits ever. It even made waves on the Set It Off movie soundtrack. The track was the perfect mix of catchy hooks and soulful harmonies, reminding everyone that En Vogue wasn't going anywhere. By the early 2000s, En Vogue was still showing they weren't afraid to keep things interesting. They dropped Masterpiece Theater, mixing classical music with their R&B and pop style. It didn't hit the same commercial highs as their earlier stuff, but critics gave them credit for taking risks and trying something fresh. Songs like Riddle proved they weren't sticking to the same old formula and kept fans on their toes. Oh, and we can't skip the trophy shelf they stacked up over the years. MTV, Soul Train, AMAs, you name it, they probably snagged it. Their flawless melodies and harmonies weren't just ear candy. They made a lasting impact on the music scene that's still echoing today. En Vogue wasn't just hitting the charts, they were owning the stage at some of the biggest events out there. From the Super Bowl to the Grammys, they brought their A-game, wowing audiences with their insane vocals and electric stage presence. These major gigs didn't just show off their talent, they cemented their place as true icons who could steal the spotlight anywhere.